The first 10 seasons of Fortnite brought us many great memories, from dimension-tearing rockets to tons of map changes and even giant monster fights. Chapter 1 was overall a great time for Fortnite, and will probably always be remembered as the game's peak. Now that we're in Chapter 2, the Fortnite map has completely changed, and many of those locations that we enjoyed so much from Chapter 1 are officially a thing of the past. That doesn't mean Epic Games didn't add a few references into the map to pay homage to its past seasons though. There is an island on the southern coast of the new map that you might have stumbled on before. This is Camp Cod, and it's a brand new, unmarked location. At first glance, this spot seems like an average drop spot in the lower portion of the map that is clearly inspired by the real-life location, Cape Cod. But there's actually much more to it than that. Throughout Camp Cod, there are a ton of small references to Chapter 1 of Fortnite. There are so many of them, in fact, that the entire location almost serves as a giant graveyard for Chapter 1. Some of these are actually pretty interesting, so we'll be spending today's episode of The Countdown breaking down 10 hidden references to Fortnite's old map. Number 10. Big Shot's Sign. Back in Chapter 1, there was an espresso company located within Fortnite called Big Shots. You could find Big Shots locations in many of the old locations, including Retail Row, Happy Hamlet, and Tilted Towers. Unfortunately, Big Shots can no longer be found on the map, but you can find two separate Big Shot signs in the junkyard located on Camp Cod. You can uncover a small espresso sign in a nearby trash compactor, as well as a large Big Shot sign laying across some compacted cars. Number 9. Solar panels. Next to the lodge at the top of Camp Cod, you can find a few large solar panels pointing up towards the sky. You might recognize these solar panels from Frosty Flights, which was a location on the map from Season 7 until 10. It seems that the solar panels have survived and are now powering the house on top of Camp Cod. At least we know somebody on Fortnite Island is using renewable energy. Number 8. Lion Statue. In front of Camp Cod's house, you can find a white lion statue resting in front of the door. This lion statue could certainly be the same statue that was seen at the Open Soccer Stadium, and if you've never heard of the Open Soccer Stadium, you're probably not alone, as the location was only in the game for about a month at the very end of Season 4. Number 7. Steam Stack. If you look hard enough, you can find a steam stack in Camp Cod that looks pretty familiar if you played Fortnite during the later seasons of Chapter 1. Most of us will recognize this stack from the pressure plant, which was used as a staging ground on top of the map's volcano for the giant robot. That same robot would go on to defeat the giant monster, which served as Season 9's in-game event and still stands as one of the best events we've seen in Fortnite. Number 6. Pueblo Fountain. Pueblo was a small desert-themed village location in Fortnite's map during Seasons 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10, and was modeled after the small towns of Mexico. In the middle of Pueblo, you were able to find a fountain. Although Pueblo no longer exists, the same fountain can be found resting on its side in the middle of Camp Cod's junkyard. Number 5. Lonely Lodge Sign. Lonely Lodge was a location in Fortnite's map for almost all of Chapter 1. The lodge seemed like a cabin used for vacationers who needed a break from the city, but unfortunately it was sucked into the black hole and can no longer be found in Chapter 2. For the most part, a Lonely Lodge sign can be found in Camp Cod's junkyard, laying sideways. Number 4. Bear Statue. This bear statue popped up in our first Easter eggs video, but we weren't able to remember exactly where it came from. Now that our memories have been refreshed, we can recall seeing this bear in Lonely Lodge during Fortnite's Chapter 1. You can now find it standing in the middle of Camp Cod's house as soon as you walk in the door. Number 3. Farms. Fatal Fields was another Fortnite location that survived on the map for most of Chapter 1, but just like Lonely Lodge, it wasn't able to survive to see Chapter 2. Still, we're pretty sure that the two fields of crops sitting next to Camp Cod's house look an awful lot like the fields that you were able to find back when Fatal Fields still existed. Number 2. Sunny Steps. Sunny Steps was an old Fortnite location introduced back in Season 8, and it brought a sort of ancient Aztec theme into the game. Unfortunately, the location no longer exists, but you can find a piece of the ruins in Camp Cod's shed. With those bright red colors and distinct design, it's hard to imagine that it could have come from anywhere else. Oh, before we get to number 1, we wanted to take a quick minute to add some honorable mentions to this list. There are more than 10 references located on Camp Cod, and we know you guys wouldn't be happy if we missed anything, so here it goes. Also on Camp Cod, you can find pieces of the filming studio from Season 4, car piles from Junk Junction, the hut from Fatal Fields, and finally a framed picture of Dusty Divot. Alright, now that's out of the way, on to number 1. Number 1. Clock Tower. Tilted Towers was one of the most memorable locations in Chapter 1. It was always a popular drop location with a ton of loot, and it was always getting destroyed or altered in some way or another. Tilted is no longer with us, sadly, but one of its most iconic pieces can still be found in Camp Cod. In the same shed where you can find the ruins from Sunny Steps, there is also an old giant clock, which looks identical to the clock that sat at the top of Tilted Tower's clock tower. The clock doesn't work anymore, and it has clearly seen better days, but it's nice to know that at least some piece of Tilted Towers survived the black hole. Well, that's a wrap on our video covering the Chapter 1 references that can all be found on Camp Cod. If you haven't already, head to this location now and check them out for yourself. Stay tuned to the countdown for more great Chapter 2 content. Be sure to subscribe, like, comment, and share this video with your friends. Oh, and thanks for watching.